Everybody wants to get rid of the winter chills, and we'll show you just how easy it is to make that decision today. Do I want a built-in fireplace? Do I want a portable guy? Or do I want something that can be a bra and a fireplace, which I can enjoy? We at Builders have all the needs for you. We'll cover it all, whether it's a small little guy or a big kahuna like this. Get on down to your local Builders and they'll help solve your problems. So one of the things that I've always wanted when I grew up, I said one day when I'm big, I want to have an awesome fireplace in my home. And it often gets to the point when winter arrives and we say, well, what should we get? Should we be getting a little portable guy? Should we put in a fireplace, or should we be going for gas? And it really is quite a dilemma. So in today's clip, we're going to try and show you what the pros and cons are, how to break it down, and how to make your choices much simpler. And we're going to start off with the traditional wood fire. So how do we get to decide whether we want a wood fire? Well, let's take a look at what the pros are. Number one, the atmosphere is amazing. You really can't beat it. Atmosphere is fantastic. The crackling, sitting around it, nice and snug, maybe with a glass of your favorite whatever, and just hanging out with the family. Of course, there are the safety issues. You might be thinking, well, what about I've got a raging fire here? Very simply, we'll show you once we've lit this that you put a grid in front of it, which makes it completely safe and very child-proof as well. Really difficult for a child to be able to get that off. The other thing is that, of course, the ambient heat. The ambient heat from a wood fire is most fantastic, and it really does just penetrate and ooze right through the house. In terms of the wood one, people always say to me, what about all the ash and the mess? Well, here's the thing. Once you've burnt a whole pile of logs, say that weigh 10 kgs, you're probably left with 10% left of ash. 10% is not a lot. It's probably working out to 1 kg of ash. And of course, what do you do with that ash? Well, if you're lighting a fire every night, all you need to do is once a week be able to clean it out. And they've really designed these guys to make it pretty simple. There's a tray at the bottom. So all you do, pull out the tray. You can sweep it up just with a dustpan or use one of those little electric hoover guys, and then your fireplace is simply clean. So let's get down to what else can we do with this baby. Well, number one, what I love is the whole process of lighting. Safe, simple, easy. Let's get to it and show you how it's done. So they make starting fires really easy today. You didn't have to go to Scouts or Cubs to learn how to do it. You get awesome little fire lighters, which you can simply pop into the grid. A couple of important things to think about. Number one, has your flue been opened completely? And in all your wood-burning fireplaces, you will find that there's a lever like this. This lever can get moved, pushed further away from you, which closes your flue and controls the amount of literally air that has been pulling through your flue. Pulling it this way opens it up full, you get a bigger, more fuller fire. And that's really your only adjustment that you need to worry about, nothing else. Then, in terms of lighting, well, you can get cool little gadgets like this, or you can get some beasts like this, which I much prefer, which really do make lighting much easier. Now, fires need air. It needs air to be able to breathe. And one of the biggest mistakes we make is by packing on as much wood as we can so that we can have a really big fire. Remember, biggest is not always best. So all I do is, I have a very simple way of doing it. We take smaller, thinner pieces of wood and we create just a little stack with it. 2 on the base, above it, and above it, and another one. And you can continue to build this as high as you require. But before you carry on building all the way to the top, light the little guy first. And here we go, really simple. Light up this baby, and this whole little guy can go right in here. Start up the fire lighters, and literally your job is done. Wait for it to take, and as you find the lower levels of wood starting to take, you can then continue the same system of piling up. What I love about this is that it's relatively safe, because as the wood starts burning, it's not going to fall outwards, because that often happens. You stack a fire and all of a sudden one log kind of falls over and you think, well, where on earth did that come from? With this method of stacking that way, this way, when the wood does fall, it falls inwards. and makes it far safer for everyone in and around and for whoever's been building the fire. Once you've done that, and this guy is starting to burn, you can then take your bigger logs and then start adding them to it once it's imploded. But I want to show you how that's done, so let's get this baby going a bit. Couple of important things to consider when you are going for an ordinary fireplace with wood burning is that A, always consider when you're designing, where are you going to store your wood? Are you going to be storing it on the side, or are you going to be simply getting a big pail where you can keep it in? Things to remember because they really do add to the finishing touches of your final product. Now that the fire is roaring, I'm feeling a bit warm, I can imagine just hanging out here for most of the day. Here's the other option. What if I wanted gas? So let's take a look at it. With gas, there are a few important things to remember. A, that you need to get a proper gas installer to be able to put that in, because there are safety regulations in terms of where the gas bottle sits in relation to your actual fire. How is it housed? Is it within an enclosed cage? Does it have a lock on it? And those you really do need to get a proper gas installer to come and do that. The other thing that you need to think of is never let the gas run out. Very important. So it's always better to have two with a valve that simply switches across so that when the one runs out, it's a flick of a switch and your gas will continue. With gas fireplaces, of course, you don't need to buy the wood. You don't need to worry about the mess of the ash that you need to clean up, and literally your heat is instant. Flick a switch, bang, on it comes, and away you go. Somehow you need to decide at the end of the day, what is the look that you're wanting? Are you wanting the ambient warmth of a crackling fire, which is live and combustible, or are you willing to have something that works on gas where the flames are consistent, you can control the height, and of course the temperature. And of course that also is determined by the style of your home. Something more rustic, more earthy, or more contemporary, stainless steel, slick, some white pumice stones, that gives you the final feel of your gas fireplace. Join us in part 2 of this clip in which we'll discuss the mobile heating options. And remember, everything that you need, you can get from your local builders.